Hi, this is David in the woods in Norway, contemplating one or two things. I believe that my country, England, is in a mess. And I think it's in a mess for quite a lot of reasons that English people think it's in a mess. And something has to be done about it. We can't carry on with the same politicians from the same schools under different labels, carrying on with the same policies that seem to be degrading some people. I'm an ex-British soldier. Of course, you probably could guess that. And I like my country. I love it. I like being English. We have a great sense of humour, and we should carry on with that. We're not doing it. It's all going wrong. I want it to be right. So I'm thinking about going for Prime Minister. What about that? Yes, I'm the sort of person you need. It doesn't look like it on the surface. But first of all, I've got to say it would be more of a referendum party. It would be for the people to vote on every issue that's important. My first issue would be all the expenses paid by the taxpayers to politicians, and these are guys that really haven't had any life experience. They've had school experience, the same school probably, I'm not really sure. However, they haven't really endured any hardship. They haven't they haven't seen life. So for these guys to come in without having experienced anything, it's a bit strange that we want them to be our leaders. You meet wiser people everywhere in the street, and we're a good nation, and we should be back, and we should be proud to be English. So I'm thinking of putting a manifesto together so that we can actually bring England back to what it is. Some things are so logical. Some things like, if the expenses are so expensive, like over £1 million in expenses for 7 MPs. I don't know where that comes from. But if those properties are owned by the state, then those expenses no longer exist, and they will be owned by the state. And when they need to be in situ to be in Parliament, then the expenses no longer exist because the property belongs to the country. So then it eradicates all those unnecessary expenses and all those people that are getting wealthy on the back of Englishmen. I saw a protest the other day online with the Muslims saying, kill the police. Now that's wrong. I don't know how it's even allowed. I mean, it's just wrong. We're English and we should be proud of it. I mean, I come away from England because I'm disturbed in some ways, and I guess if I went for Parliament I'd probably have to get a haircut. I'm not even down that road yet. It's just something I'm thinking about. And how do you come? That's neither here nor there. Det bedre jeg snakker norsk? Hvis jeg snakker norsk, det er ingenting. Jeg kan si til deg, du forstår ingenting. Jeg tror det er hvorfor jeg må snakke engelsk, for alle de mennesker jeg kjenner med folk. But all my Norwegian friends, you speak English, generally, a little bit. Not all of you, but some of you. And I am in Norway, in the woods. I'm probably the poorest potential Prime Minister that you're probably going to see online. So, how am I going to be a Prime Minister? You think to yourself. So you go for a walk. Well, I can do it online, and I'm going to have to get all my votes online. But first of all, I have to come up with a good policy. My primary policies, we have to look after the British forces. We have to look after soldiers when they leave. These people that are in Afghanistan now, you can be young, you can be brave. I've been there, I did my tours. But when they come out, when you come out as a trained soldier and you come into Civvy Street, it's different, and they need some they need our help. They're protecting the land, for heaven's sake. They need guidance and they need assistance. They don't need to be just like passed off and, oh yeah, that's all right, they'll be fine. Well, some of them are not going to be fine. And these guys now, they're 18 years old, they're in Afghanistan. No offence, but some of them 20 years down the line are going to find it so difficult to deal with what they've had to see, what they've had to deal with. I mean, when you see a guy die, you remember it. You will always remember it. Because it's pretty unexpected and very instant a lot of the time. And it affects you, some people, for the rest of their lives. Most of us that are soldiers can actually deal with it because that's your job. But they should be looked after better. The people to protect the land should then be looked after when they need protecting. Those things are important. The network of the rich and the poor. We shouldn't have poor. We was one of the greatest nations on the planet. We had one of the biggest empires, for heaven's sake. Okay, I love my queen, and I think she's a great statesman. And however, our politicians are just losing the plot. They just seem to be spending the country's money in ways that isn't benefiting the country. And it needs to benefit us first. Of course we want to be generous to the people that really need it in the world, but we have to. If our own house isn't in order, they say India, for example. We give to India, which is now a stronger nation than us. Oh, we're going to stop that in 2017. Why don't stop it today? I mean, I don't understand. So we've got to spend a few more millions on a country that's even richer than ours because of what policy? Because of the I don't know policy? Wait a minute, they're doing really well and we're quite happy that they're doing really well and we still want to be friends with the Indians. Of course we do. But there's no point throwing money at a country that's richer than us when some of our people now rely on food banks because they can't feed the children and there's no industry left because all the industry's been sold. The French. I lived in France for 4.5 years and 1.5 years concurrently. Moi je parle français aussi, c'est pas nécessaire pour parler français. But the EDF came on the television because the French were complaining about the price of electricity. And the EDF's answer was, I don't know what you're worried about because the English, they pay more for the electricity than you do. Oh man, come on, get alive. That's not right, is it? We already know we pay more for what they do because they overcharge us. But do we look into it? It's the people of the country that I'm more bothered about, not the rich. They're always going to be fine. I mean, I'm going to lose. Right, what votes am I going to lose? Probably I would get rid of faith schools. So there you go. That's an awful lot of people that aren't going to like me because it's segregating us. If we have segregation, we're going to have future problems down the line. And you can see some of them bearing themselves out now. You can't have a faith school that gives one doctrine of a religious faith against another doctrine of religious faith, because then you get segregation in the park, in the streets, and we don't need that as a united nation. We are Great Britain, and we should be Great Britain. I mean, it's gone from Great Britain to United Kingdom. I can't even say I'm English anymore. How weird is that? But I am English, and I think it's time that we put some people in that had some life experience. We can't have these people just straight from school, straight from college, straight to university. Oh yes, and then I'm going to join a party, and then I'm going to be Prime Minister. C'est pas right. It's just fucking wrong. It's just not right. So, anyway, that's what I'm thinking of doing. Just thought I'd let you know. And the rest of you have a nice day.